Bit about us. We both are in law enforcement actively. I've had 12 years experience there. During the 12 years, I have been school resource officer. I have been special operations, patrol. During like the past 10 years, I've taken a lead role in our instructing in the law enforcement community, running use of force, firearms, active shooter for multi-agency type trainings. Bring in fire and EMS in. I'm also an EMT, so I bring that to that as well. About a year ago, I really noticed things getting super crazy, violent crime going through the roof. So we started this company, bringing the training that I have from the law enforcement community into the general public. And while starting this up, one of the courses I offer is permit to carry, along with active shooter, and hopefully doing medical classes like CPR and AED stuff here soon. Grew up in the area, so I just thought this would be a perfect place. I sent out a message on Facebook through Linwood just to check to see if there was any interest in the community. And I got a lot of responses back of very interested in attending these courses. So I contacted, I can't remember who I spoke to here, and told me that there was a fee to rent that room. Due to just starting out and everything, it was a little bit higher than what we could afford at this time to put those classes on here. So that's why I'm here today. You want to introduce yourself?
I'm Ben Johnson. Like Matt said, I've been in law enforcement for over 26 years now. I'll be retiring at the end of the month, so I'm getting in with Matt on his ground floor company here. I'm happy to be with him. We're offering, like Matt said, we're offering the concealed carry, active shooter type classes. They're different than what you typically get from a permit to carry class. Generally, you can take them online, where there's very few in person that you actually get a little bit of training in. We offer that when you take our course. We give you the start of a little bit of training, so you recognize that it is needed. Permit to carry is not just a permit to carry a handgun, but you do need additional training to be proficient in it. So that's where we're going with our classes. So we're here to hopefully provide that up here.
Yep. Provide those other trainings as well. I don't have like specific dates at this time. We would just see the need for the community after those classes. I would like to get the first one probably in a month or so, so a little bit of time. And then we'll just see how it goes from there as far as additional classes. But this isn't going to be anything that I'm looking to rent this room weekly, even monthly. It's nothing like that. It's just a place that I can host these classes for the community.
Questions? Well, Mr. Nichols, he held his class over, did we charge him for his classes?
No,
So he was not charged for his classes?
he was not charged for his classes, but he did two things. One, he did classes specifically for seniors at a reduced rate. I lost the other one. That was the reason he started it, is for the seniors. And that's why he did it in the senior center.
Okay.
So I don't know what your rates are, and I don't know if you have a senior rate.
I don't have a senior rate at this time. I'm not saying it's something I couldn't consider in the future. My rates it's $99 a class, and then that covers all of the range fees and everything that we do as well.
I don't
Let me ask you a
remember.
question.
Yes, sir.
So I have office staff out here. And active shooter training would do them really good. For them to be able to attend a class for active shooter for our office.
Free of charge?
I didn't say that.
In exchange of,
Did.
I did, you're right.
She did. But what would be the possibility of you providing services for an active shooter class for our township staff in exchange for waiving the fee for that senior center.
Yeah, that's definitely something we could work out. You know, there's been a number of incidences where somebody in the community isn't happy about a decision that's made, and they come to city council meetings
Tell
and
me.
cause an issue. You know, just like New Hope a couple years back, there was that shooting involved in there. So I think it is very important that you guys get that training as well, and that is absolutely something that I would be able to do.
Okay, Tom, you have something to say?
I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
Most permit carry tests in order to get fire. Part of it is.
So I work with Best Defense in Forest Lake indoor range. And then we're also trying to get in with Beaverbrook at this time. I know Beaverbrook had some change and some problems there where they shut down for a little bit. So now that it's back open, we're seeing if we could go there. That's relatively close. But if not there, I'd bring my students to Best Defense as well.
Okay. Other questions?
No, as long as the precedent's been set.
I would be willing to entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we allow them to use the senior center in exchange for some classes for our office staff.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Has moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all's in favor signify by, who stopped me?
I did.
I'm sorry, Tom, about, John, go ahead and talk.
So is there any conflict? Is that like considering like accepting a gift? It's not, is it?
It would be like kind, it would be exchange of service.
Okay. Good. That's the only question I had.
Okay, thanks, Tom. Anything else? Hearing none, all's in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Gentlemen, you're on your way.
Thank you very much.
Yep, when you set those up, go through Sarah, our senior center coordinator. And she's the one you'll be contacting and filling out the forms, but that's where that'll go with that.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Have a good day. Next, Friends of Linwood Township History. Here they come. You know what? Instead of you standing up there, why don't you come sit over on that microphone right there? I'd rather you sit instead of having to stand.
Fairly well, but.
We are holding this weekend a craft and hobby show. The idea is we're looking at teaching our young people and so forth of the hobbies that made our people able to survive. When you do weaving, it made clothing. When you do woodworking, it made the furniture for the home, etc. And we're going to have a lot of people here. Now, I understand that there was some question whether or not we had gotten permission to do that. We made a schedule last year, right after Family Fun Days. So we met in October and came up with a schedule for the entire year. Right after that, we submitted the requests for use of the senior center. I have a message on my phone from Sarah in November saying it had gone through for both of the activities. The other activity is in May, on May 4th, we're holding a tea and having a guest speaker from Anoka County that we're paying to come in and talk about the changes in clothing from the mid 1800s to the mid 1900s. And we are going to serve a luncheon, decorate tables. We're going all out with this. And for both activities, there is no charge to anybody attending. We're just going to ask for the tea that they sign up so we know how many are coming. That would be the only stipulation. But basically, we're funding all of this ourselves so that, yes, we will have a free will donation jar out there, but it isn't going to stop anybody from coming. So anyway, it's my opinion that those two things have already been approved by the board based on the process that was in place at that time where I gave it to Sarah. Sarah was supposed to bring it in front of the board, whatever, do the paper background and then let us know. So unless I'm wrong, that is what I understand. The other thing is that we are going to, we're talking about family fun days way in advance. But yes, we had our listing at the first meeting. We're asking for the northern half, quarter, or third of Broadbent Park to set up just like we did last year. This year, our theme is where would Linwood be without wood? And we are going to have Ed and the group are going to bring in tools, span saws, the old buzz, whatever we can find and display it and possibly, if we can get them running, actually show how they work. Everybody is going to be roped back. There's going to be nobody close to it. And we'll have people standing there just to make sure nobody gets in there while that is happening. And it will be at specific times during the day. That's the plan. We're going to have a tent out there and we're going to have the history of the wood in Linwood, showing corduroy roads. We're going to show, we've got some pictures of the Grant sawmill. We've got some other things like that, and we'll have bits and braces. The kids are going to be able to drill their own holes like they were going to have a crosscut saw where the kids can cut logs. They were going to have we're going to build little log houses out of Lincoln logs. We've got, the plan is in process. We're even talking about something about building a corduroy road out of, and try not to make it too mucky, you know, in a pool or something like that. So with that, we are also had requested the mini golf course. Nobody wants to go and sit out in front of, with the mini golf course. Well, we'll do it. It's in our area, if that's the case. And Concha told me that the theme is an enchanted forest or something like that this year. And we're going to try to improve the quality of the mini golf course than it was last year. Last year, though, we had kids coming all day long and they'd come back. One kid, I understand, up to 7 times. We'll have the mini, we'll also have the face painting. Again, everything that we do for that day, other than selling our books, history books, will be free to the public. This is our service to the community. So we're asking for the use of that part of the park for that day. And it's my understanding anyway, which if we go to the Family Fun Days Committee, they have the use of them and they can divvy things up. We've got that approved. But if we need an additional approval, we want you guys to know. The 2 new things that we're asking for is they said we could do the bingo again this year, and that would be one of our major fundraising because we need to finance what we do somehow. Can't come out of our pockets all the time. And we also wanted to do it in July over at the park by the pavilion. We may set up an additional tent. We'll just in the early planning stages, we've set up a meeting to talk about bingo for this year. But we would like to request approval for the bingo on the formal form so that it can go to the county and then it can go to the state. And then hopefully we'll have permits by July. But it takes a little time to do that. So that's our request for that.
Pam?
So earlier, Becky, did you say that the date should be July 6th?
not the
No,
26th?
July 26th, but September 6th, not 26th. Family Fun Days is the week after.
I'm sorry. Yep. On the agenda, it's incorrect. Okay. Yep. Thank you.
Then, and the reason why I have to submit both of these is the state requires that I submit everything that we do for gambling, including raffles or anything, all on the same form, all at the same time. So I have no,
Okay. Anything else? You look like you have a question.
I don't
That's
have
why I'm
anything
asking.
else, but I think she's asking for several
Well,
approvals. Yeah.
well, I know she's asked for 2 approvals right now, at least 2 of them that I know of. She's asking that they can have bingo on July 26th and September 6th. Is that correct?
yes.
That's 2 of the things you want to do. I'll entertain a motion either way on that.
I'll make a motion that the committee can have bingo on July 26th and Family Fun Day, or the day before.
The day before, it'll be that 6th
September
is a
6th.
Friday. Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, you got those 2 dates.
Thank you.
Now, I see they have requests to waive the rental fee. Is that for the senior center?
That was the one that I said I believe we already have
Okay, Pam, do you
for
remember
those
that?
two.
I don't believe it came to the board. I know Sarah said that they filled out the forms. And she said, yep, that should be fine. So
Let's
again,
just
it
do
would
it and
just,
get it,
Let's just make it, I'll make a motion, we waive the rental fee for the senior center.
and I'll second it.
Been moved and
What's-
seconded.
what's the date
And what's
on
the
that?
date on that for that?
Okay, the one is this weekend. It started, we're going to start on Thursday, setting up, and we're going to run Friday, 3 to 8 o'clock, Saturday, 10 to 4, Sunday, 12 to 3, then we're cleaning up.
Okay, and that doesn't conflict with anything Sarah has going over there? All right. Been moved and seconded. Everybody's got the dates. Any more discussion?
So you're talking this Thursday and Friday?
Yes,
Okay, and there was a second date or that was the date? That's
there's a second, event, which is May 4th,
May 4th, okay.
So that'll be on May 4th. What day is that of the week?
Saturday.
It's a Saturday.
Thank you.
Okay, any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And you wish to advertise the events on the electronic sign?
Yes.
Carol, that's your forte there, that,
Oh, no, that's not me,
Communications.
not the electronic sign.
oh no, but that's part of communication. So can we do that? I'll ask Pam, the person in the office with the little thing that types it out there.
yeah, again, office staff can't do it. So that's why it's, if the board says it directs office staff to put it on there, then we can, but and we just don't do it for groups, other
You don't do it-
activities other than township sponsored activities. So that's why,
Is this a
Again,
township
just as a
sponsored
formality.
activity?
Mm-mm.
no,
But we could ask them to, ask the office staff to do it if we wanted to.
I know we had activities last year put on there.
So. Board's pleasure.
I don't see a problem with it.
Want to make it into a motion so we can move this?
Um, I'll make a motion that we ask the town staff to put the history committee's information on the electronic sign.
Second. It has been moved and seconded. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Deed's done.
Would you please get the information to Natalie so she can get it on the website?
I will do it later on this evening. I'll send
Okay.
her an email. The other thing I guess I would request is that somewhere really soon, I would like to see a listing of what the processes are, because it seems like it's changing a little bit, and I want to make sure that we're following it exactly. I don't like coming to a couple of days before an event thinking I've had approval for months and not having it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Becky.
All right, fire department.
All right. Thank you, Chairman Parker, staff, supervisors. For the month of January, we had a total of 19 calls, 16 medical, 3 being fire. So last year at this time, we had 17 calls. So again, we're trending high from last year. The total number for 2023, we had a total of 310 calls. In 2022, we had a record number of 277. So 310 is our new record, which is nothing to be happy about. Then I'd like to get the town board approval to accept a 1-year leave of absence for firefighter Mike Beebe with the effective date February 1st.
Make a motion to accept a leave of absence for firefighter Mike Beebe effective February 1st for 1 year.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next.
Thank you, board. Next approval is to send up to 8 firefighters to state schools. And that's going to range from now until probably near the end of March, April timeframe.
What did we approve last year?
What does that mean, Daryl?
State schools are the schools that we send to firefighters for special schools. That could be extrication, officer training. It's kind of a buffet of different classes that they can take above and beyond the classes that we take or have at the fire station.
Is this a 1-day class, a weekend class, a week class?
It's usually a week or a weekend class, correct? So there would be lodging, meals. And again, we will encourage the use of the utility vehicle. Probably more discussion on that. We want to have our utility vehicle up Duluth, in Austin, or wherever for a weekend. So if not, it's highly encouraged that they do a carpool at the very least.
You remember how many we sent last year? How many approved last year, Pam?
I believe it was 10, but I'm not 100% positive.
I went through the billing last year. I show 3 people went to Duluth, 3 people went to Austin and 1 to Moorhead.
So 7.
That was 7 that actually used it. Just because they're approving them doesn't mean they're gonna use them all.
Correct.
Last year was 12 according to the records.
Was it 12 we approved?
I'm just going through what I paid.
All right. A motion to allow 8 firefighters to go to state school?
Is this a mandate for them?
It's not a mandate. It just,
This is more of a specialized training stuff where it's more in depth of what they learn.
right, and they can bring some of those skills back and do a training session for the fire department. So
I'll make the motion to allow 8 firefighters to go to state schools, up to 8 firefighters to go to state schools.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain.
Opposed? 1 abstain. 4 ayes, 1 abstain.
Did you aye?
Aye. Yep.
Oh, Carol.
Okay, yes, she ayed. All right, sir, go ahead.
thank you, board. Been in conversation with Jennifer Perkins over at Oxford Township. I'll be attending their board meeting April 9th to go over cost share and coverage area. Again, early stages. The population in Oxford Township is about 1039, which covers 23.75 square miles. They did respond to 18 calls in 2024. So it would add probably between 18 and 25 calls a year. The initial number I had was 70. I'm not sure where I got that number from. So it is a lot less than we initially thought, which is, I think, 2.3% of Isanti's volume. So it probably bring us up to probably a little bit further than that on our call volume, probably about 10%. So, and that, again, that would be medical coverage, fire, wildland, anything to do with EMS service. So, but more to follow on that.
So Daryl, was that 18 calls in all of Oxford Township or just the area that we would be looking at supporting?
That is the total of Oxford Township.
So what we would be covering is far less than 18 most likely.
Yes, yes. They would still, again, it's in early stages of the discussion.
Sure.
I know that Isanti would probably still keep 9 and Apollo.
Yep.
And we would take from Pigeon Loft down to Rutgers and then down to County Road 20. So
Okay.
pretty big area.
Yeah.
But again, 18 calls, and again, that's fluid, right? So
Right.
it could be more or less. So
Great, thanks.
burning restrictions, anything on the DNR, there has been no update. So business as usual until we hear from the DNR. So the Compeer financial grant, we did receive our strainer and our 2 drafting feet, which came at a price point of $2,471.22. The facilities team did order some extra hose along on that invoice. So we did satisfy that grant. It'll be just over $4,000. So I think it's gonna be about 4,300. So we'll have to come up with $300 for the extra hose that we purchased and a nozzle. The other Compeer grant, the $10,000 general use grant, we did not receive. So we'll be doing another go at that next year. And again, thank Mary Brooks for all her hard work on both grants. The 23 Assistant to Firefighter Grant Program, we met with a individual named Neil. He's well rehearsed in the AFG. Initially, we wanted to go for an engine. After talking to Neil, he wouldn't take our money. We're not going to get the grant. We're fighting across the nation for an engine. He thought it'd be best served if we took that and put it towards extrication equipment for the possibility of the future new engine 1. So with the town board approval, looking to get approval for Neil to spend $600 for him to write an AFG grant for what he's calling an extrication kit.
Make a motion that I'm gonna spend $600 to have a grant written for extrication equipment.
I'll second for discussion.
And moved and seconded, discussion.
What's the valuation of the extraction kit?
So that's going to come with, it's going to be battery operated. It's going to be the jaws. It's pretty much everything we have on our current engine 1, which is a Genesis system. But we could get cribbing, airbags. Usually it's anywhere between $85,000 and $100,000. So.
Okay, so $600 is a fairly low investment if we can get the grant.
Correct. Sitting down with him, he said on these types of grants, he has about a 79% success rate. So.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next.
Thank you. And the VFA grant, which is basically the DNR grant towards wildland turnout gear. We did order that. Again, that is a matching grant. So we will be also putting $5,000 towards that. The Forest Lake Chief, Al Newman, reached out to Linwood and East Bethel on a possibility of a cost share for a well off of 197th. After doing some research and talking with Anoka County, that price point is going to be around $300,000. So we're dropping moving forward at this point. It'd have been a huge asset for us. We don't have a lot of water capacity in that area outside of the lakes. But at that price point, we decided to drop it for now and hopefully see if there's something else out there that they can accommodate us for. So
Where's the Coney Garage on 197th Avenue?
it's right behind,
Right hand side.
yeah,
guy tell us at the local government meeting.
Could've been a new
He
one.
said in Oka County, he's building a new building with a new well that we can use anytime we want.
In the same area?
Am I right? That's what Jeff Reinhardt said to us
At the LGO.
at the local government meeting. He said, good news, we're building a new building over there and it's gonna have well where you guys can get water. Swear to God, that's what Commissioner Reinhardt told Andy and I.
Well, that's even better news.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. That's what I thought, but. So maybe there's good news on that. I don't know.
okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for that update. I can update Chief Newman. So,
Yeah, that was just out of his mouth. Maybe
okay.
it was. I don't know. That's what he said.
Supervisor and Olson and I attended the Anoka County Fire Protection Council meeting. The 2025 proposed budget was voted on by both the elected officials and the fire chiefs for $491,519. Again, this is the proposed budget. We'll make the final vote in April. Just want to make sure that the board is okay with either Chairman Parker, Vice Chair Olson, and myself voting on that proposed budget. It's not like we have a choice in it, but just for transparency, that's what it's going to be. So any questions on that?
So before we go past this,
Yep.
I would like a motion from the board to allow either myself, unless I can't make it, or vice chair to be able to vote on this. We did this before we're gonna vote on something, spend township money, we have to have approval to be able to make that vote.
Do we know what that is? That's not the townships.
No.
No, that's not the township. That is, nope, that's strictly
not the
for,
Township's amount, but we will know that probably March?
we vote in April, and then after that, they dissect it, and then we pay a certain percentage of that per volume.
So we'll know to find out, but this is proposed right now, but this number could actually change before then.
It's pretty much going to be right around that. And then what they do is dissect it, and then they bill out the different departments.
Even if we were to get the vote today and it allows us to make the vote, before we do that, the town board should know exactly what our share of this is gonna be and what we're gonna be voting on before we vote and spend.
And that's where the trouble lies, is that we have to vote on this before they can actually dissect and break it down to each department or city.
So basically, what we're trying to do here right now is kind of, well,
Well,
Supervisor Olson already voted yes for this. So for the proposed, just to get that through. So
do we have a contract though with the percentage? I thought that was just like the watershed or something. We're part of an organization, and if their budget was $1 million or if it was $200,000, Linwood proportionately would be spending something. So do we have that percentage to know what it would be of the 491?
You can refer to last year's, but we wouldn't have it now because it hasn't been split out yet, is my understanding.
Well, we could split 18% of 491 and have a ball. I guess that's all I'm saying, because to get to the number you're looking for, we'd have that ballpark. So that's what I'm wondering, is that a prearranged contract that Linwood is that X percent?
No, because that's fluid. It's going to depend on run volume and then population. So with ours, run volume going up, that could change what we're going to pay for our dues next year.
Do you know, is this much higher than last year, or I don't remember what it was last year.
Last year, the total was I have that right here. It went up just a little bit. So last year we were at 477, 425. This year it's 489, 919. A lot of that is due to insurance rates going up, and then some other fluidity within the market and other identities getting more money. So again, this is kind of like a buffet of everything that the Anoka County provides, the fire investigation team, the fire the fire program, the academy, the CAT team, our PSDS fees, which actually went down from 220 last year to 205,000 this year. But there's other things that went up. A lot of it is the auditing. So it's everything that Anoka County has to offer, administration, stipends. So it's all kind of à la carte.
If you know that amount, do you know what our share was last year?
I was at about
So-
5,000.
Invoice 279, it says PSDS fees for 2023 was $4,008.
Yep.
But then we have another one for the annual membership dues for 700.
Yes, so yes. So yeah, around 5,500 on the average. And again, I expect that going up because of the run volume, but not substantial.
You say maybe 7,000?
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Well, that gives us a better idea than.
Well, that's what I
400.
was kind of wanting to know before somebody says yay, before we spend money.
Yeah, really.
That's why I kind of want to toss that out there, because I need to know how much more you're gonna let them spend or approve. So with that information and knowledge of it, that we know it's not tens and $20,000 at a time. Do you wish to make a motion at this time or wait until further down the road to make the motion to allow?
It's really not going to change until we have the meeting in April for the final budget. And that's when they set the budget. So I can't imagine these numbers changing too much. I mean, within the next couple months. Lori Yeager, who's our treasurer, does a really good job. If it changes, it's probably going to be a couple $1,000 plus or minus.
So basically, like I'm saying, our share is gonna be probably between $6,000 and $7,000.
Yes.
And that's what the new first due system and all that rolled into that,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
So can we make a motion just to not exceed like $7,500? You know, the supervisors approved to
Up to 75.
approve up to 7,500.
You can do that. Make the motion.
I don't know what happens if it comes over that, but
I was gonna say, I don't know that you'll know that.
Well, you will when you walk in to vote on it.
Yeah, I would say
I think they would have to have these out to all the cities beforehand for their breakdowns.
When all the
Does-
cities do their budget, June or July. So we're the only ones who are budgeting right now. Everybody else isn't budgeting for 4 months. So they'll have their money when they're budgeting. or
Is
their-
this for 24, 25?
this is going to be for 2024.
We're budgeting for 25.
Oh, your sheet says 25.
Let me look. Sorry, correct. It is 2025.
You know what?
We got months. Can we
So
table?
why don't we just table this thing for right now? Let's bring it back. And if this is coming up in April, let's bring this back up next month,
We could do the second.
second meeting in March. It'll give us an idea of what we're, hopefully we'll have more figures on the table, what the breakdown would be. Somebody makes a motion to table it. I'll second it. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Chief,
Okay, thank you.
make it bring it back to us, second meeting in March, please.
Okay, thank you. The truck committee, would like to set up a special meeting with the town board, to go over engine 2 replacement. I'm not sure how we do that. Is that a meeting? Is that even something that they can do possibly, or just meet with a certain identity of the board? Does anybody know?
Tell you the truth, I'd like the whole board to meet so they know exactly what they're talking apples and apples and oranges, so there's no he said, she said. I'd prefer if we do it, if we could do it, say we start, we come in early for a meeting. One of our town board meetings, we can be in here, we start our meeting at 5, have that meeting here for about an hour, then have the regular town board meeting. That'd be my preference. Anybody else?
Or discussion, I'd propose over there to see the trucks. It's a possibility to,
Well, that's a possibility. I don't care where we do it.
So that time, if it's a Tuesday night, it's tough for me to be here at 5. If it's far enough out, I don't know what time frame you're thinking, I could put in a request. Tuesdays are just my fixed days at work.
What's everybody else's thoughts? Up,
Anytime, I don't care.
done?
I'm fine. I like
Yep.
the idea of meeting over there.
Okay. So the only bubble we're sitting on is,
What time frame you thinking? Chief?
Oh, I'm open to anything. If you want to do it, does the 27th work for everybody at 5?
second,
February 27th?
no, we have a meeting with the lawyer with, no, that's further in the day. Yeah, we can do that. I just gotta make sure I get them. Cause we have a 1 o'clock meeting, I got a 1 o'clock meeting from 1 to 3, so. We are pretty good for 5 o'clock at the fire hall on 27th.
Is our Board of Audit going to be part of our 6 o'clock meeting?
Yes.
You stay in the February 27th, 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock at the fire hall.
An hour before we meet here.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Make sure I put all this stuff in here, or I will forget it. All right. Are we good with that? Pam, have you got that? It can be all posted and everything, so they know we're having that meeting and all that good stuff. Okay, go ahead, chief.
The last thing I have is we had a last applicant that's coming fully trained from Audubon, Minnesota. At the very least, we'd like just to interview this individual. He would be a daytime firefighter. He works at Running Aces. He's going through his EMT right now through Running Aces. So we'd like to interview him at the very least. Just looking for town board approval to interview one more individual.
Make a motion, we allow the fire department to at least interview this prospect firefighter.
Second.
Move seconded, discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have.
Anybody have anything else for the chief? Thank you, chief.
Thank you.
All right, move right along. Road and bridge. Got both in Linwood.
Right, just a couple things. We had a fairly light meeting. Basically, we've got a few potholes that are starting earlier than normal this year. So we've got the guys, as soon as they're back to full staff, they'll take care of those. We've got a shoulder that's up in Fawn Lake that's starting to kind of give way a little bit on the backside of Fawn Lake. So we'll get up there and take care of that. Down on Hornsby, right where the creek goes underneath the road. We had 2 very large sinkholes that dropped in. Looks like that we actually have some undermining from some rodents. I don't know if it was muskrat, beaver, I don't know what it was, but the road gave way, so we had Simic go out down there, kind of crush everything down, so we weren't dealing with power lines, and then filled it in with gravel. So we reestablished the integrity of the road. We're gonna be looking at doing some riprap on some ditches like on Ryan Lake Road around the bridge. So we figure we'll probably add that into this project, so we get some riprap in there. It'll make it much harder for any rodents to get in there and undermine anymore. So, but otherwise, everything is just kind of status quo.
Are you short on manpower?
We've got, we've got one that's out sick and we've got one that's had some other personal issues.
Anything else for road and bridge? Sunrise River Watershed?
This one is, basically our last meeting was, more of, just structuring. We picked new officers. So it was just kind of normal business to reorganize. We did, we got all the bylaws back, feedback from everybody, so we accepted the bylaws. And went through the budget and started looking at picking subcontractors to do some of the monitoring that we're gonna have. There's 3 inlets into Linwood Lake that we're gonna be doing some extra monitoring this year of just to kind of see what we're getting out of these rivers coming into the lake. But there will be, I don't know if it'll be the next meeting, but Kevin is our citizen volunteer on this board. And he actually accepted the vice president position of the Sunrise Watershed, so he'll be a little bit more proactive. And I'm going to, Jamie always does some really nice reviews. And I'm not gonna burst the bubble, because what I'm hoping for is that we can get Kevin in here. And so you guys can all see him again, and I'll let him do the report, but we'll try that maybe in a couple weeks, assuming that the report gets approved by the committee.
Very good.
That's all I got.
Any other questions?
I have a question, Mike.
Pam?
So, I know that there was some shoreline stabilization that was planned when the ice got good. Are they like gonna adjust and do it in the summer or wait till next year or?
No, it sounds like they're going to make changes on how they're gonna approach it, which I haven't not heard what those changes are gonna be yet.
Okay, I was
Yeah.
just curious.
Yeah, no, they plan on moving forward. I think part of it is because of the grant. I think they have to move forward with it.
Linwood Family Fun Day?
Monday had their first meeting resuming here this year, last week. Just kind of a kickoff to it overall. As Becky alluded to, the sawmill theme, so that's kind of they're getting their ducks in a row with what they're gonna do for shirts and kind of planning out stuff and what would have to happen, just activities wise, depending on volunteers. Talked about just the partnerships with the church on parking and stuff too, as we get going. So it's kind of a early kickoff and discussion with the Friends of Linwood History, where they're talking about all their stuff they went over here. So moving right along.
Very good.
And Mike, I think we missed a subset of the
Well,
Sunrise Watershed.
I'm sorry, we have to go back up for alternate. I'm sorry.
No,
Go back
that's
up to
okay.
Sunrise Watershed for alternate.
And I think, did you want to talk or do you want me to ask about it? So Pam and I had talked, this alternate is optional. But it's kind of like if I can't make a meeting and we don't have an alternate to go, we basically sacrifice a vote if we're gonna vote on something. So for that reason, it's probably important to have an alternate named. So if I can't be there, at least if there's business that's being voted on, we've got 2 votes for our community instead of just 1. So I think I'd put it back to the board that I know Bob wasn't comfortable, so he withdrew, but I think we should have somebody else as an alternate named. Anybody?
It has to be a board member.
No,
No,
Isn't it large?
it doesn't have to be a board member. Do you have anybody else has any interest?
Unless you put it out there
I
on the
would,
website.
let's put it on the website and see if we can find if there's any interest. That's when they may want to participate and be a representative of the township.
If somebody calls, give them the 411 before they sign their name.
Yeah.
It's really not that difficult.
That's easy.
It's really easy now.
Anything else?
Nope.
Pam, any question? Yeah, you had to look like you had something to say. Somebody's gonna question.
No, I mean, I guess if you want it to be a board member, you can. I was just saying it doesn't have to be by the rules. It doesn't have to be a board member. It would be nice if that person could bring the information back. So if they do fill in, could they then bring that information back to the board, or can Kevin come and bring that information? That's the handy
Okay.
part about
Well,
having a
we
supervisor.
asked them to do that, so.
Are they going to get, is Natalie gonna get this information from you? Or from John? I don't have it, so I can't give it to her.
I can send it.
Okay.
Yeah, my preference would have been if it would have been a board member. I don't plan on missing anything. It would have to be something very kind of crazy for me to miss it, but it would have been nice to have a board member in here, but I'll go with whatever you guys want.
We'll post it. Nobody posts it, then we'll have to bring it back and discuss it.
Okay,
How's that sound? Good with that?
fair enough.
Safety committee?
So in your packets, kind of the safety review of what and where, you know, kind of looking at maybe board input, some of the things in terms of, you know, we do have things in place. We do have things we need to improve upon. I've heard comments of safety. So looking to, you know, everyone had a chance to review the information, and this is by all means not all inclusive. But in terms of what and where the township wants to go with safety, what is, you know, what have we done? Where do we want to go? What is the expectation of all involved? It's all encompassing, so. I mean, really, there's, you know, the standpoint from forming a committee and what has to happen. The logistics around that with, you know, my preference would be, you know, someone from each department and working through those, you know, ask the silly questions of, you know, once you start doing something every day, you start to deviate from norms and what it might be, someone else to see something new. Just to be able to overall look at what we've got to do. Just from the town board standpoint, you know, as well, we have our WARE program that we have to review annually. So that would be something looking to have the board do, you know, and moving forward, something coming from that committee with recommendations like the rest of our committees do to have some of this stuff encompassed. So it was just kind of,
Sure.
Do you, have you started to form a committee?
nope, looking for board input and what the plan is. I'm one of 5.
I think we discussed before that in the committee, I think we wanted somebody from each one of the departments in there, so it'd be like Paul or one of the maintenance guys in there. Sarah would be in on it. One person from the office would be in on it.
Fire department?
Somebody from the fire department would be included in it. So, I mean, I think we discussed that before, and I think that was the discussion we had, that one person from each department would be involved in it, so. I don't know what the board's other thoughts are about it, but. Anybody else have anything else, any other idea that they were thinking about, or something different than that?
I think that's a great idea. The one you're talking about. If you got someone from recycling, senior, maintenance, office, fire department, I think they should meet at least twice a year. I think it's extremely valuable. I think, if Andy's involved in it, I think Andy has tons of experience at this. I think he does. I don't know if you want 2 supervisors on it, but I'd be more than happy to help with it, but doesn't mean I'm gonna take it over, but I mean, I'm always there to help on safety.
Answer a question for you?
Yep, so just, and that's kind of where, well, I mean, that's where I'm at too, but understanding decisions making and financial impacts and everything else, that it's probably a scheduling thing. So working within each department, what that looks like to find a consistent time and one that'll work for all involved. And then to be able to come back and understand, you know, that's the logistical side of having the dialogue and moving that forward. But then coming out of this, where does the safety come into play with what it is for facilities and equipments and making those repairs you know, as we talk through budget stuff, are we mindful of those things and how we get them forward to be on there and get repaired?
My thoughts. Once you have your first meeting and you can kind of see how things are, what's going on and what the concerns are, that we can address the concerns as they come up, but I don't know what else is thinking. I guess I wouldn't know where to start, except you have to meet with everybody first and find out what the concerns are before you kind of have a direction to draw things to address and things to be taken care of. I don't know if I'm wrong here. I'm very definitely possibly wrong, but
It's gotta start somewhere.
well,
Mhm.
actually, the first thing we can do here, and I was just thinking about this, because we're creating a safety committee, right? I'm gonna make a motion that we create the safety committee and one member of each department and a minimum one supervisor is on that committee.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we're gonna get this thing started the right way. It's been moved and seconded. Any more discussion?
Just want you to know, safety, like what Pam does with enforcements, isn't cheap. And if you want it to be cheap, if you want to save money, because you know, I've been involved in businesses where they hate safety for the one simple reason that safety doesn't make you money, it costs you money. But if you do it right, you don't lose money if you do it right.
Put it this way, you have one injury and you have OSHA come in here, it'll save you a ton.
Exactly.
How does that sound?
Exactly. And you know, we used to do it at work where if we have to do 100 feet of sidewalk a day to make ends meet, whatever. If you get one injury, you all of a sudden have to do 200 feet of sidewalk to make ends meet. That's how they kind of explain it to construction workers at work, where it doesn't cost it costs township $200 by a guy a pair of work boots. Yep. I can't believe we spent that. If we didn't and he crushes his foot, how much were the work boots now? That's how I like Andy saying, the board has to know what happened with safety because it's not a cheap thing. And I mean, all the PPE that's spent across the street, I mean, that's minor. That's minor. And we don't spend a lot of money on PPEs here, but we're going to, I bet. We've always been proactive on supplying with what we buy over there. It just may come to if they use it or not. So it's good though.
Any more discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You got a committee, Andy?
All right, thank you.
Hey, that's pretty impressive. I actually printed it out so I could see what it physically looked like. For 18 pages.
A lot of research.
So is that all you need, Andy?
Yep, I will get that formed, reach out to each department.
Okay, very good. I made that happen. Sitting there thinking, beating this team to halfway to death, and else gets it done. All right, safety committee, school forest.
A couple things going on at the school forest. February 24th, we're gonna kind of have a school forest get together in the forest with the school. There's a medallion hunt. There's just kind of things going on. We have always started fires in the school forest for this, but it's probably not gonna happen this year, because usually when we do it, there's 2 feet of snow. So it's probably not gonna happen this year, but I know the principal was talking, she might talk to the fire department and see if she can get some info from them on if they can, if they can't, if they want to volunteer to help out the school forest. I don't know, she was gonna take care of that. But that's the 24th of February from 11 to 1 in the school forest. We've been in contact with the DNR. There's a DNR guy. His name's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember for the life of me, who that's his job with the DNR is school forest. He walked with the principal and he's got plans for forest, how to keep a healthy forest, where you go in and you wipe out 2 acres here and you get more diverse in your school forest. So we're not doing anything yet, but he would like us to start doing that more, where you wipe out 2 acres a year and just get more diverse with the school forest. It's better. It's way better for the forest. But we're working with him on that. I've been talking to different people who want to go in and cut firewood in there. Cause we have the hardest time finding people to cut firewood, cause we have hundreds and hundreds of cords of firewood on the ground. And we have permission from the DNR to get rid of it. So we offer it to people. We offer it to loggers. We offer it to a lot of people. Everybody wants to do it until it's the day to do it and then nobody does it. So we try, cause it's, if you've ever been in the school forest, it's sad with the amount of wood that's on the ground. It is unbelievable. I told one guy his limit is 200 cord. And he didn't believe me and I said, go for a walk. And he hasn't called me since, so. But I don't know, but we're just trying to clean it up because, it's just, I've always said it's a tinderbox waiting. It's, there's just too much stuff on the ground in there. It's almost like the Boundary Waters canoe area. It's scary when it's dry and, you look at the year we're having right now. I mean, we've been dry for a couple years. This year's getting really bad, but I don't know. There's things going on.
Video streaming retention policy. Here we are.
So yeah, so what's in the packet is the updated one from the, addressing the concerns from the last meeting, bulleted out, and Supervisor Olson developed kind of that timeline history thing to kind of get to what and where we got with the policy in terms of where we're at. So really, this one encompasses those bullet points added after the discussion on the 23rd from, everything from what to do with the pandemic or, where they're actually stored, what they might be. Still some things to fill in when they're decided, but it's kind of addressing those things. And then it's got the, for a jumping off point, it's got the 30 days that was mentioned at the last meeting on the 23rd. So.
Anybody's feelings on this? I think it covers everything that we've talked about. I've read this thing 3 times now. I think it covers everything we talked about. And one of the big things we had was how long we're gonna keep it. We do that. At least 30 days. So if it goes 31, it made it at least 30, so they can take it off of there. That gets done. Did the attorney get a chance to take a look at this?
No, it just got sent to me.
Okay. All right, cause I want this to come to an end.
Yeah,
I think we should just send this to the attorney. If he finds nothing wrong with this, then I think we should be able to adopt this at the next meeting. So I don't know what anybody else's thoughts are, but that's what I'm thinking. What do y'all think?
We make the motion pending attorney. So if I. because
Well,
then
the
that's gotta
thing,
come
if you
back.
do it pending the attorney, if there's something wrong, then we have to bring it back and redo it anyhow. So we can't approve it until we get his review back on this. But if we do it, I can't see him taking more than 2 weeks to be able just to look over this. Maybe not. Tell him, when you send it to him, just tell him, be very kind and say, we'd really like to get this out of here so you don't have to listen to it anymore. Cause then he doesn't have to hear about it either. So I'll make a motion, I'm gonna say, I'll make a motion, send this to the attorney for his input. And yeah, and upon his review, bring this back for a final vote. Your second? Your second?
I'll second for a little more discussion. So I would think that if we send this to the attorney, I mean, or just ask, what are we asking the attorney to do, I guess is what.
Just to make sure we're fair, square and legal.
Okay, so the question that we're gonna ask the attorney is to read through this and then tell us what? To tell us that there's nothing illegal about what we're doing?
Everything we're doing is on the up and up and we're legal to do what we're doing.
Okay. So we're not asking an opinion of liability, those kind of things.
I guess I wouldn't, I mean, cause he's already told us that you know, we can do it. He advises against it, but he says we can do it. There's nothing, no liability. We can't do it, or we have to
Well,
do it.
one attorney advised to not do it, one advised that there was nothing
There's
wrong.
nothing wrong with it.
Preliminary, you know, because they
Yeah.
hadn't really seen any of this stuff, so. I just wanted to be clear because if we're gonna direct staff to go talk to the attorney, you know, it should be something very specific. And I would say if the attorney does have concern, I think it would be maybe advantageous to have a Zoom call to where we can actually have some back and forth questions. So I would say that that would be part of it, is if there's concerns, let's have an opportunity, because this back and forth is getting really long and
Well, look at it this way.
ridiculous.
If he looks at this and he has no qualms about this, I don't see that it can come back and we just vote on it.
Correct.
If he finds something wrong with this, I don't see why we couldn't Zoom him in here to our next meeting when this comes up. And we can discuss while he's on the big screen and asking, tell us what the problem is, or we can ask him what the problem is.
Correct. And that way at the next meeting or whatever meeting it is that we can get an opinion back on, you know, that we can put this to bed. Like I said, that way the back and forth questions, we can get them all answered.
And then we'll be done.
Correct. That would be my opinion.
But that, to me, I would schedule to have him here for that, to along the lines of what we talked about before, and maybe that's something that as part of these, if the policies are the concern, if there's gonna be a policy, that we have them here for those discussions. So that way it puts the matter to bed, like we're trying to do. And to me, that's where if, you know, along the, you know, building on what you're saying, Supervisor Olson, is if we've met our objectives, looking at the bullet points and the discussion points, and you send it to them and they bless it after the fact, or hey, make this correction, we make that correction. Again, whatever the process is, I'm just saying we move that forward for how we develop a process or a policy.
So the motion right now is to send this to him so we can review this and make sure that we're basically on the up and up and we can legally do this. If there's something that comes back from this that he has a problem with, I think that's the time then that if he does have a problem with this, then I'm gonna rescind my motion because we gotta redo this, John. Will you rescind your second?
Yes.
Thank you. Because if there's something wrong with this and us keep beating this horse to death, if he finds something wrong with this, what does it cost us to have him come here?
$1,000.
What does it cost us to video streaming?
Yeah.
All right, if there's something wrong with this right here, we need to do a video stream with him on the screen for this portion of the meeting. And we will bump this up to the very first subject in the meeting, so he doesn't have to sit there and dilly-dally at 6 o'clock. 6:05, we'll be on the board with him and we'll get this stuff done. So somebody help me form this motion so that this is what it wants to be, because I've got myself twisted.
If I'm hearing you, I would make a motion to send this policy to the attorney and schedule the attorney to be here at the February 27th meeting via Zoom meeting for dialogue.
He doesn't have a problem with this. If he says it's good to go. Still need to have him Zoom in the meeting. See, this is what I'm saying.
Well, you know-
I'm trying to get this so that if he doesn't have to be here, we don't have to have him on here. I don't want to spend the money to have him here.
Right. But there's two sides to this, because in all fairness, if I'm thinking if another supervisor has questions about the concern of doing this, they should also have the right to ask those questions.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I almost think that it would be appropriate to have the attorney just present for this topic, doesn't have to be here for the whole meeting. Because I know Carol has brought up some things that I also share as, you know, some concerns. We want to make sure that we're okay with this.
Well, I think it's if the attorney, first of all, I'm not for this, so you gotta know that up front. Okay, but if the attorney is going to say it's okay. I think it's absolutely foolish of us to spend the money for him to come to ask questions of when he already said fine.
Okay, then Andy's motion stands the way it was said.
Any other discussion? Kind of, did he get?
Yeah, we didn't second it. I'll
You
second.
didn't-
I'll
you didn't get a
Motion
second.
done.
It
to be
wasn't a
honest with
second.
you.
I would, because I ended at the being here remote
For dialogue.
for dialogue if needed.
I like that last two words, if needed.
Okay, I'll second that.
Okay. Any more discussion? They should make it clear, if he has no problem with this and everything's good in his eyes, we don't need him here, we'll bring it back, we'll vote on it at the next meeting. If he gets back to us in time,
So,
which I'm really hoping he gets back to us in 2 weeks.
so on the discussion side, and what is the question posed to him? You know, in terms of aiding staff or,
I guess I'm still looking at the same thing, is that he reviews it and he finds this order, this policy is in order. That it is something we can do, legally do, and there's nothing here that's conflicting any way with what's out there. I mean, it's got Minnesota statute 13D.5 on the closed meetings in there. Wherever I see a statue in here someplace, that makes me want to make sure that whatever else is in there is meeting that statute. I mean, I see a couple of different statues in here, and that's why I want it to be.
so is there any other staff concern? Because a lot of these bullets were brought up from the last meeting on the 23rd. There's no other bullets that needed to be added.
I was not involved. The board had directed that you would involve me. You haven't been, so I can bring some of them up now. I guess I question. So it refers to the township's data retention schedule. Again, it's not on our retention schedule. So I think the attorney's going to probably want to see our retention schedule. It's not on there. So I think that might be an issue. I know you're saying they're going to be retained at the town hall. We want to correct that. So the address is here at the town hall, not the fire station. And then I also question, the 2 terabytes, if we're only retaining 2 terabytes was back when we thought we were retaining them for 3 months. I don't know that that necessarily needs to be in our policy, the size of it. I mean, if we can retain them, if we're only retaining them 30 days, you're gonna have 2 meetings. If we can do it on a 1 terabyte, again, that's for you guys, but I don't know if that's specifically, because if I end up recording it on a 1 terabyte, then I violated a policy. So I don't know if that has a place in the policy. I know it's what we talked about, but
I was just writing
Again-
down what
Well,
was said.
Right.
You can change
Oh.
it
Yeah.
not to less than 2 terabytes, to up to 2 terabytes. You
I
have
would
to
just,
change it.
I would just leave it open as a self-standing, storage device.
Okay.
You know,
we can
that
do
way,
external
that way
hard
the
drive.
clerk can determine what hardware she needs.
And again, I know this all came from different discussions at different times and stuff, but I don't want to put something in a policy that ties your hands when that part doesn't
Well, that-
really matter.
Well, that'll take care of your 2 terabytes. Retained on an external hard drive, so. You take out with the drive size not to less than 2 terabytes, that can come out of there.
And then I also, for legalese, again, if it's going to be retained according to our data retention schedule, then it's a little bit awkward to me to see at least 30 days, because our retention schedule says you'll retain it for this long. So, I mean, I think we could get rid of at least and just that they're retained for 30 days. Then it's not open-ended if I choose to keep it for 45, well, because I'm going to be held to the retention schedule, whatever
Sure.
when that gets amended, that's gonna say 30 days or that time period. So that I think maybe could come out as just a period of 30 days. Then it's not left up, it's not subjective.
So you just basically want to take out that, be posted for a period of at least, for a period of 30 days, you're gonna take out the, at least out of there then? Is that what you're saying?
I'm suggesting that
I like that.
No. Okay, John?
Is it presumed then, like with the data retention, that it's, whatever the amount of days is, that's the minimum that it's kept? So like some other data that we have that we might have to retain for 3 years, we could actually keep it longer than 3 years, but it has to be,
no, if you, the records retention that is all the longer you keep it. Now, I don't have anything in my retention schedule that says 30 days. It's usually a year, 2 years, 22 months, some of them are. So, but we can't choose to keep things longer. We've said this is how long we're going to keep it. And again, there's a few other amendments. When we amend it for this, there's a few other records that aren't on there, or we've chosen that it makes sense. We can keep them as historical, but I think it needs to be listed. We found that building permits, we only need to keep them 2 years. It's been very, very helpful to keep building permits longer than that.
So basically, all we have to basically do is say the retention schedule is gonna be amended to include, video recordings of town board meetings for 30 days. That's basically what you say. We need to amend the retention schedule to say that.
That'll be one of the amendment in regards to this, that would
I like
be one of them.
Okay.
Yeah, my other ones.
So is the retention schedule, which I get, there's gonna be, this isn't all encompassing, they're gonna have a lot of other to-dos out of one thing, and we operate right now with things we don't have policies for. So in terms of how we move forward, is the retention schedule, is that something that's reviewed annually, or is it something like this brings it up? So at some point you have a chicken and egg situation of when or what something gets reviewed, or how, or do you just, like you say, we wait till we get like a dozen things and then update
Well,
it?
it just, I didn't know until digging into this that we actually could amend it. I thought once you adopted it, you stay with it. So this was educational for me because again, I've come to the board and said, hey, look, we want to keep some of this stuff longer. Our septic records, you're not supposed to keep them very long. Well, again, when we've got to dig back into history. So it needs to be amended. I think it got adopted in 1992.
Mm.
And I don't know that there's been a lot of changes to it. They adopted what was, and it's still what the standard is. If you look at the Association of Townships, they provide a link to the records retention schedule. It's basically what we have, but again, it has microfiche on there. So, I mean, there's some outdated things that no harm, no foul to leave it on there, but we really could do better to update it in total. And I don't know if I answered Supervisor Olson, I don't know if I answered that question, but we need to get rid of stuff at that point. So my election stuff is 22 months. I can't keep it longer than that. And we don't want to keep it longer than that because the more data you have, and then somebody does a data request, you've got a lot to dig through. So that's kind of the purpose of it, is you're telling people this is how long we do keep it, but we need to follow that policy and destroy the stuff after certain.
Let's call the question. Would you read the motion, please?
There's more, but we will, let's see. Send the policy to the attorney to schedule the attorney and schedule the attorney to be at the February 27th meeting via Zoom for dialogue if needed.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
I
Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, it's 3-2.
so Pam, you weren't able to go through them all. Is it possible to go through those at some point so we can get them included in the document?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Plow driver hiring.
So we had a few people that were interested in plowing this year. This was a gentleman that applied, back a little while ago. I did do kind of an abbreviated, interview with him. He lives, just off from Sunset, so he's close by. Is near our community. He's got experience, plowing in, all sorts of plow trucks, single axle, tandem, wings, salting, pre-wetting. And he was able to explain some things to me about, the pre-wets and all those kind of things. So he definitely, in my opinion, has the experience. He did, if you look at his past employers, he does have, also a background in, some technical mechanics. I did reach out, I tried to reach out to two of his past employers. Today, I was not able to get a hold of either one of them. But in talking to him, we talked a little bit about the maintenance of some of the heavier equipment. And although I'm not an expert in that area, he seemed to be pretty relaxed and confident in what he explained to me that you need to do to do maintenance and, repairs on this stuff. So he brings more to the table than necessarily just the plow truck driver. But this is what we were looking for him to do. So, given my discussion with him, and not knowing if we're actually going to have a snowplow need this year, what I'd like to do is, offer him, the part-time temporary, position, one of them as a snowplow backup driver. And, that'll get him through the process so we can do the background on him. In the event that we do have a situation where we do get some snow here, at least we can put him in one of the three plows. So I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and offer Nathan Lundquist the part-time temporary position as a backup snowplow driver, at the initial rate of $20 an hour.
I've got a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
So just,
Aye.
sorry, just one, so that'd be pending our other internal processes of background
Correct.
thing,
Correct.
so wouldn't have to come back, so.
Right.
okay.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, compensation reimbursement policy. Pam?
So this, the board said what changes they wanted. I put those changes in here and I just thought it was appropriate to bring the completed policy back for the board to adopt the policy. And mainly the changes were under section 3, section A, where it talked about the supervisor's pay, the second paragraph there. The supervisor's pay is really what you changed. So just to be sure that's what your intention was.
I stay by what I said before in the discussion meeting that I think it should be linear and clear cut. Have the paragraph discussion or description of it all. Makes it confusing, and even coming on as a new member last year, it was somewhat confusing. If it's just a, flat rate, but then it's broken out on the other ones for the chair, and then each of its first 2 meetings of the month. And you have committee meetings before it. So I just.
Any other discussion?
The only part I was confused on and here, and it was just based on my recollection of the meeting is, and I know we had a lot of dialogue, so it was probably me getting confused, but when I first came on the board in January of last year, it was a flat 325, and the expectation was to be at the 2 board meetings and at least 1 committee meeting. And then in here, it says that the other board members receive $100 for each of the first 2 meetings attended in the month. And then the 3rd meeting of the month will be paid at 125. And I'm fine with it either way. It comes out the same. This kind of makes it to where supervisors need to show up to meetings to be compensated. But I just wanted to make sure that everybody else understood that, because I didn't understand that in that one meeting.
Carol?
I'm the one that changed it, so, based on a problem we were having in the past. So, this is the way we changed it before Andy came. And that hasn't changed. We didn't just change this. It's been changed for a long time.
No, I realize that. Yeah, it changed February, March, something like that. The, where my confusion was is I think Mike made the motion, if I remember right, because he had stated it to go back to 2022, way it was done in 2022, and then Pam said, don't put a date necessarily in there, just say what you want. And that's why if we went back to what I thought was, let's say, the end of 2022, it was the flat 325.
I see.
That's where my confusion was.
Yeah,
And
I don't have
and-
any idea what I don't remember that, so.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm fine with it either way because it all comes out the same. But and to me, I kind of like it this way better because it holds supervisors to a little higher standard that they're going to show up for these meetings, or you don't get compensated for it. And I think that's the way it really should be.
I think my suggestion not to go back to 22 is the rate was lower. So, I mean, I didn't think that was the intention, was to lower it back down to 275 and 3.25 for the chairperson. So I didn't hear anybody saying, hey, let's go back to the old rates. And this is the way it's been paid. It was worded maybe differently, but this is the way it's been paid. It's 325, but you lose $125, or you lost $125 if you only went to 2 meetings. So
Sure. Yep. Yeah, like I said,
Wasn't-
The way it was before was that you got paid a flat rate of 325. If you only made 2 meetings, you didn't make your committee meeting, you still got your 325.
If you didn't come at
Right.
all, you made 325.
And you didn't go at all, you got 325.
Yeah.
That's where a past board member was not making a whole lot of meetings. He was getting his money, and some people were getting upset, and that's how this whole thing came
And
about.
that's what I'm speaking to. You should be paid if you're here and not if you're not. But as this word reads to me, that, again, take the people out of it, the position, the chairman is paid a flat rate, whether they're here or not.
But the chairman is paid at that rate because the chairman has a lot more duties than we do.
Hear me out. Whether they're here or not. Because the next sentence then says other board members. So I think the interpretation of everyone here is that we're still splitting that chair up, but it doesn't say that. So that is why I'm saying that the language, when you write it like this, just, it's paragraph form of telling the story. Where when you look at it on how we had on the wage charts, where you just had, this was for this, this was for this. You know, at the end of the day, if you have the first meeting of the month, your first board meeting, call that the big business meeting, that's the 125 one. And then your other meetings are $100 and whatever, you could set a rate then to each meeting that you do, because then you would be, to your point, Carol, being compensated for attending what you're attending. Because again, I'm just speaking to taking the individuals out of it, because now you could have somebody just getting that.
I got a question, Andy. Are you objecting to the fact that the $400 isn't paid the same way? I mean, it could be paid exactly the same way with an extra $100 for the extra duties.
Yeah, that's, to me, it's just something clear when, because like I said, this is, when I started, it was, it was just written as a sentence on the bottom of that sheet, but you're still checking what you're getting. And then you come back to here and you see that it's just a rate of a whole number. So like I said, when we were talking through this, that's where I was pushing to just have it be a rate.
Do you wanna, could we table this and you come up with how you'd like to see it written?
Well, I'm,
Well, you could
Well,
present it at the next meeting.
Let's put it this way, I mean, I guess I'll toss my two bits. I don't have a problem with the way this is written because it makes sense to me. Okay, I mean, maybe I'm crazy because it makes sense to me what it tells me. Basically tells you what the chairman's making, he makes a flat rate a month, and then it tells you what the board members are actually making.
That's what he's
So-
complaining about, Mike. He
But,
doesn't,
but what I'm saying is, the chairman's spot is separate from the rest of them. So it's got, this is what the chairman makes, this is what the board members make. And the last one, and that's what tells you what the meetings they make and how much they're worth. Then the members and chair make $100 per extra meeting attendance in excess of 3 meetings. So basically it tells me that I get $400 for 3 meetings. That's what I get. So it tells me, according to this. If I go to extra meetings, I get another $100 per meeting. So
that's correct, Mike, but if
What
we,
it says right there. Well, right there, all it says is if just by you being chair, you get $400. You don't have to come to one meeting. And that's what Andy's saying.
So that,
You don't have to go to one meeting.
Only have to come to one for $400.
You don't even have to come to one.
No, it says you have to make first meeting.
Okay, so you make $400 for the first meeting.
that was the issue. The chairman could be exactly the same way as the rest of us. And there should be an extra $100 for his extra duties.
75.
Oh, okay, 75. Let's give him a raise.
More raises.
Let's not be giving nobody raises, no.
This is a lot to do about nothing.
By the way.
Oh, that's my name on it as chair. You are in so much
Been a
trouble.
long month. Oh, it's 11.
All right, so what's the board's pleasure? Let's move this along. Do you want to approve this? You want it to come back? What do you want to have happen?
You got a motion.
Have we made a motion? There's no motion on the floor.
He's objecting.
Here's the
on
thing.
me.
We don't care if he objects. You
No.
know, I
like
make a
said-
motion to approve the compensation and reimbursement policy for Linwood Township supervisors.
Got a motion. Is there a second? There's a second. I'll second it. Now we get discussion. Any more discussion? Gonna get voted down, we'll get it voted down, it's gonna pass. Any more discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Oppose.
3 ayes, 2 nays, it's,
Motion.
the compensation reimbursement policy is passed. I'm beating that dead horse. Okay, ice rink signs. Who's speaking to the ice rink signs?
Because this must mean that it came back from the attorney.
So I was asked to check with the attorney, send him the proposed rules for the hockey rink and warming house. I sent them asking him to see if there were any legal issues with the rules. And I'm just going to read you what he said. With regards to firearms, there's very little that local governments can do, particularly with regard to handguns. That entire area has been preempted by state law. There are some areas where cities and townships can regulate to the same extent as the state, but there's nothing that would apply to warming houses and ice rinks. I would remove that provision. For First Amendment purposes, I would likely remove the reference to foul language. That is a content-based restriction that would likely create an issue. Otherwise, the rules are pretty straightforward and okay.
So if we want to get this through, so we want to make a motion to approve this with the changes of taking out weapons or foul language from the hockey pleasure rink rules. We could put this through tonight, or we can let them look at it themselves and see what they want to do with it.
I make a motion to approve the hockey rink, pleasure rink rules with the changes made by the attorney.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
Can
Are
this
you-
please be sent to the park chair?
Are you including the warming house rules with that too?
Yes.
Okay,
And then I have one more question. It's,
okay, it's been moved and seconded. Bob, go ahead.
we have Linwood Park signs that say no guns. That gonna be, put us in a pickle?
Likely.
Okay, then we'll bring that up at the next park board meeting and we'll go.
Wait a
from there.
minute.
There are places where guns would not be allowed. Like in the school forest, they're most likely not allowed there because of rules or
Yep.
legalities of a school forest. So it's just not a broad statement that you can't,
Okay,
maybe parks is one. I mean, I can check with the attorney and see. He just said a warming house
okay.
is not, an ice rink
Then
would not be.
that letter from the attorney to Carrie, can you send that to her? Cause
Yes.
then she'll spread it to her people that have the signs made.
Okay,
So that committee's making the signs,
They'll take care of it.
unusual.
okay. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. They're getting signs made. Job description, make sure I'm going to the right thing here. Yes, recording secretary, job description. Everybody have a chance to take a look at this? Tammy, you want to speak to it?
No,
Okay, you don't have to. I believe this is what we use for one of the other committees, and it's just kind of what we want to use for all committees?
yeah, it was from, because we had one specifically to the Road and Bridge Recording Secretary, and the board voted to pay other recording secretaries, so I adapted it from there and took out things that were specific to Road and Bridge.
Make a motion that we approve using this committee recording secretary job description and for all committees in the township, for the
Second.
township.
Second that.
Moved and seconded, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed, motion carries. Recycling holiday schedule.
I'm the one that put it on the agenda because the schedule for the recycling holidays has never gone to Dadley or been approved that we know of. There's a holiday next Monday. So right now it says the recycling center's open on Saturday. Is it open or is it closed?
It's closed Saturday?
So this was tabled from the last meeting. We had the new schedule brought forth and talked with Paul. We're going to move forward. The recommendation be move forward with the schedule that was done as is. And we'll be looking at for future years, what we're gonna do with those off holidays and what and how they'd be handled with compensation, so. So this schedule that, this is the one that Alyssa had worked with Paul on, would be the recommendation to move forward with.
Okay, we need to approve it.
Yep, that's why I was coming back here, because we tabled it last time.
Does somebody want to approve the 2024 recycling schedule?
Wasn't this approved at our first meeting? Because we approved the township holiday schedule and then we said, because of the work that had been put into it, we were going to just approve the recycle schedule as well. I thought that was in our first meeting.
No,
Yes, it got approved in the first meeting, and then that was the one that was, they passed it. And then you met with Paul and it changed to this.
Oh, this is a.
This is what came
this
at
is
the
what was
last
tabled
meeting.
on the
Okay,
23rd.
so this is.
Thank you.
So this is the new and improved.
Got it.
All right, so we got a motion to approve the 2024 recycling holiday schedule. Is there a second to that motion?
That was second.
It has been moved and seconded. Who gave the motion, John?
I don't think it was a motion. I
don't
didn't,
I think it was a motion.
but I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Andy seconded. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
And would you please send that to Natalie as soon as possible? I'll tell her to, as of tomorrow, to put the recycling center closed on Saturday.
Okay, we have got a resolution 2023-19 approving a variance to allow a septic replacement in the town right of way at 23130 East Martin Lake Drive. It's an encroachment agreement. That's why I take it that we have came to a settlement here now. Everybody's agreed to this now?
Yes, so this is a resolution that was written and adopted by the board with one of the conditions was that an encroachment agreement that was satisfactory to the attorney was arrived at and signed. So since then, we did receive a proposed encroachment agreement. So that resolution is signed. We just can't record it until we get the encroachment agreement. So we're not going back to that resolution. But what I wanted to tell you is that the encroachment agreement went to the attorney, and if I can just read the attorney's response to what the Matalas had proposed. So the two larger provisions that they removed are, number one, the town's right to revoke the agreement and make them remove the septic system, and two, the waiver of the special assessment process. Because we're talking about a septic system, I can live with removing the revocation provision. As I told them before, the town wouldn't legally be able to make them remove it unless there was another location on the property to install the septic, so it really has no effect. Regardless, I can live with that removal. Removing the waiver of the special assessment process does not eliminate the ability to assess the costs so I can also live with that. So the encroachment agreement was signed by the Matalas. The attorney's happy with it. It's more a matter of informing you because the chairperson is able to sign it. I mean, again, the attorney was good with it, and that was the only condition, as long as there's an agreement that the attorney is good with.
That's great.
So
So that's it. That's the end of it now.
that can now get recorded.
Finally it gets recorded, so we put that to rest. Very good.
Yeah, thanks for all your work on it.
Thank you. New business cemetery committee.
Okay, this is what I know. First of all, in 22, there were 8 burials, in 23, there were 13, and there's been one so far this year with 2 more going to be buried soon. The cemetery has approximately 200 lots left. But at some point in time, we need to think of the south end of the cemetery. As I thought about it more, I don't think there's any hurry to do the south end, but Craig and I had talked about trying to put a committee together for people to think about what do we want the south end of the cemetery to look like? Do we want the lots smaller for cremations? We're using big lots to put 1 cremation in each lot. Do we want to continue to do that? Or do we want smaller lots? Do we want to columbarium? What do you want the cemetery, the south end of the cemetery to look like? Craig he does not want to head up the committee, but he'll be on the committee, and he would be willing to do the surveying if we had the equipment to do it. And he has somebody on Road and Bridge in mind to be on the committee, and maybe a couple of other people.
So are you asking that we
I'm,
approved?
well, I don't know.
Approved to have a committee?
I don't know. Is it too soon?
Well, I don't know if you call it too soon. I mean, if it's something that you're looking at in the future, we used to have a cemetery committee,
Right, but they didn't do this kind of stuff.
but they worked with what was existing.
I know.
And I think I think you could form a cemetery committee now and look at future plans. I mean, you need to start looking at it here pretty soon. I mean, I know 200 people are a lot of people to die and have to fill the rest of that north end. But it's still, I guess, I can't see where it'd be too early to
It's 10 years out.
start 10 years out. I mean, start your plan now so that if they do come up with something, you can start putting money away to start doing this and do that. But
Right.
it's better than waiting to the last minute going, oh my goodness gracious, we're out of cemetery plots. We need to bury 10 people. We're gonna stack them in the caskets out front.
Yeah, okay.
I'll make a motion to allow, who wants to,
Wait a minute, I have one more. one more thing.
Okay, go ahead.
If they're gonna have a cemetery committee, they need a secretary to keep track of all of the things that they are going to do. So I would like you to consider having a secretary. I would like it to be Pam Matty if possible, since she does all the cemetery records and she has all the cemetery information besides Craig.
Well, that'd be nice, except I think that'd be up to Pam Matt if she wanted to be the secretary for that.
Well, and I
for
do
that.
understand that.
So I mean, it would say, yeah, yes, so we need to have a cemetery committee, yes. Do they need a secretary? Yes. Who that is, I don't really care who it is.
Okay, but it'll be a paid position.
Well, they would be offered the pay like all the rest of
Okay.
that. So
Alright.
everybody's in agreement with that? Everybody understands that?
Yep, 100%.
I'll make a
Is it-
motion that we allow them to form a cemetery committee.
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion.
So is it the plan to be a standing committee like it was, or a special group study to meet
As
the
far as I'm
objective of
concerned, it's a
this?
special group study, but whoever takes this over can make it anything they want to make it.
Do we need to change our budget for cemetery for 25?
I don't,
You got Supervisor getting paid, you got a recording secretary getting paid. I'm just wondering if we have enough money being put into cemetery in 25.
I don't remember how much we put in
Well,
there.
you can't really take the cemetery, you can't take that into account for the supervisor for the cemetery because we're already there. So now it's just,
Well, who's on the cemetery that's getting paid for 12 meetings a month?
well, they're not,
A year.
but I mean, who has cemetery? You have cemetery, right?
Mhm.
Carol has cemetery. If she went over and met with Craig once a month, every month, if she wanted to have a meeting with him, that'd be,
But if they have
It was
a
already
committee
there.
that meets every month, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah,
trying
the-
to
the-
look
oh, I
at that.
understand. Yep, I
Super-
understand.
It ain't much
Supervisor pay comes out of a different account though, right? Yeah, so it has nothing to do with cemetery.
deal.
So the only thing that's impacted is a few meetings where they might pay paid $75 for a
Recording
recording
secretary come out of a
secretary.
different fund?
Yes, that comes, it comes out of general fund.
Okay, and then,
Would that be 12 meetings, say they did 12 meetings a month,
Well,
$75 a
I
month,
can't imagine it being 12 meetings a year.
about $800, $900.
I just like to ask questions. Just
That's
to
all.
upset
Keep
everybody.
asking.
That's okay.
All right, any more discussion?
So what was the reason for it? The committee going away?
Nobody wanted to be on it. I don't see this as the same kind of committee. The committee before was very different. They worked on the cemetery books. They did all kinds of things that they don't need to do anymore. We really needed a cemetery committee before. We need it for a different reason now.
Gotcha. No, and I understand and support it. Like I said, that's why I'm just wondering if the objectives met, what.
Yeah, well,
Do we give them a
in
different
fact,
objective?
I think when they finally got the books all done and got everything in order and everything was turned over to, who got it, Pam got it, somebody got it here. So then once that was all done, they kind of worked themselves out of a job. That an easy way to say it?
Yeah, that's a good way to say it.
It's a good way, they kind of worked their way out of the job, so. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
I,
Hey,
Opposed, motion carries. Loader maintenance quote.
Right.
Ziegler.
Jack was doing some digging into the maintenance on the loader. Loader hasn't been, had regular service done on it for quite some time. He talked to Ziegler. Ziegler says that you should be doing it after X amount of hours or, once a year. Yeah, and I think it's 500 hours. Well, I don't even think we're at 500 hours on the machine. So technically we should be doing it each year. Public Works is asking for 150802 to allow maintenance to be done on the loader and get it up to date. So I would like to make a motion to approve $1,508.02 to Ziegler Companies to do regular maintenance on the Caterpillar loader.
Second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion?
After we do this, will we be starting some kind of a checklist so this doesn't happen again?
Absolutely, we are.
Wonderful.
More discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Recycling check-in.
So
Just giving us the numbers of what was going on back there in the last year and what's going on to date.
Paul asked me to give you guys an update, so.
Okay,
put in the numbers.
there's your numbers.
We talked, the plan to have just a monthly update. Gonna revise a little bit and throw in some customer counts and some other metrics and KPIs and track that data.
Very good. Any questions? Very good.
Will we see these monthly now?
That's the plan.
Beautiful.
And it might just be in the consent agenda, but at least it'll be received officially and
Love it. Thank you.
Parks resignation.
So Mark Howley, I'm not gonna read what the letter says,
Thank you.
but he has some personal issues going on. He was phenomenal on our park committee. We hate to see him go, but I would make a motion to approve the resignation of Mark Howley from the park board.
Seconded. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Okay, we have a CD renewal, is that the next, a CD renewal coming up? This CD is worth $122,732.16. It will mature on February 24th. So, our fine treasurer has given us the little sheet here to take a look at.
So we always ask you where were other ones sitting month-wise? Because I mean, obviously the highest rate is only 11 months.
We have a wide variety
Wait.
right now.
What is your recommendation?
I don't even know at this point.
Okay,
I'd like to make a motion that we do the 11 months for 4.56%.
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded to, what number is it? To take this certificate in the amount of $122,732.16 and renew it for a 11-month CD at a rate of 4.55 for the interest rate. And so.
Or whatever she can
Unless,
get.
or excuse me, 4.56, or unless our treasurer can wheel and deal a couple extra points on this.
Which the stock market got blasted today,
Yeah,
so,
they did.
so this could change overnight, but
It would have been a good time to go in there.
yeah.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, motion carries. Next thing you'll see is Minnesota Benefit Association Life Insurance Benefit for $805. That is the life insurance on each one of the members of the board for, costs us $160 annually. So we need to approve this, to pay this?
Yes.
I make a motion to approve the Minnesota Benefits Association Life for $805.
Is there a second?
Second it.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Just,
Hearing none, all those in favor, Pam?
just a note, this wasn't in your meeting packet, so the check will be cut at the next meeting. We have till April 1st, so, but I just needed to get your approval to see if a claim should be made for it.
That was gonna be my only question was if it came separate as official because of us in it, but it was just the timing of.
Yeah, if it
Gotcha.
came in, yep,
All those in favor, signify, well, it's not due until April 1st.
right.
All right, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We got Matt spring courses coming up, March 18th to April 5th, $75, I think, for each member to go attend this.
Did y'all get something?
In the mail, yeah.
I got it in
You
the mail.
did, okay.
It came in, so those are short courses that are coming up. If you haven't been to the short courses, depending what they are, they can be pretty good course and be really informative for you to go to. So,
We need to know because they want.
well, then
payment
you know,
brought
because
with.
number one, they need the money, number two, they have to plan for meals and things like that, so they know what's going.
There's no pre-registration, but they are asking that you bring money when you come, so.
I'm not interested.
I mean, they've got them everywhere. I mean, they've got them.
Duluth, Bemidji, Granite Falls, Brady
Wilmer,
Point, you name it, they got 'em.
they have them all over the place, all through the, you know, so they're all out there.
I'm gonna do one in the fish house on Saturday. That's how much they're everywhere. Do I join? Oh, that's right.
All right, moving right along.
When do you need to know?
So this one, there's no pre-registration. You can just show up. It's just that if we, if
Can we do?
we need to know if a check needs to be cut, the board would need to approve that tonight so that checks
Okay.
can get made and signed. Otherwise, your other option is you pay for it yourself and get reimbursed.
I'd like to attend this year.
You want to attend the class this year? Okay, so I've got one person wants to attend. Anybody else?
Like I said, I just got the mailer yesterday and I gotta check my date and schedule, so.
We'll put this way, we can
maybe-
approve up to. Carol, you gonna go to any?
Yeah.
Bob?
Approve up to two, no.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve up to 3 supervisors to be able to attend the Matt spring courses.
Second.
That way we got it covered and she knows if anybody wants to go, they can tell her it's passed. Any okay, I made motion second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. I've got the December 2023 Fire Department payroll direct deposits 20,888 to 20914 and electronic fund transfers 20915 to 20916 in the amount of $9,766.18. Is there a motion to pay?
I'll make that motion.
There's a second.
I'll second it.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
One abstention.
Andy abstains. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes approval of the January 2024 town board meeting minutes, the claims list for approval from 38009 to 38055, the amount of 61,843.84, regular payroll for February 2nd, direct deposits 20934 to 20944. Electronic funds transfer 20945 to 20947, the amount of $21,156.53. And the treasurer and clerk bank reconciliation ending in January 31st in the amount of $1,972. Excuse me, yeah, $1,972,760.37. The motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we have an upcoming meetings. Anoka County Countywide Housing Study and Local Housing Aid is Tuesday, February 20th at 7 PM. That's at the Planning and Zoning meeting. We have a budget meeting scheduled for Thursday, February 22nd at 6 o'clock right here. Now, let the fun begin. Supervisors' comments. Andy?
None at this time.
Bob?
I have a few. Under our newly approved compensation and reimbursement policy, mileage when it's necessary to authorize by board of township officers to use private vehicles, do we have to approve a supervisor going to St. Cloud and getting mileage? For the short course? Is that what this is telling me?
Yeah, I guess that would be the assumption if you're saying that they're going to go. I guess
I mean,
to me,
we're-
the assumption
yeah.
would be that
Because I
You're
just
gonna
see
pay
that
their
it says
mileage.
when authorized by the board, so we're authorizing it. And then he gets one meeting, Pearson goes, they get a meeting pay?
that's what you've done
Good.
in the past.
Okay, just wanted to clear that. I spent about a half an hour in my car before the meeting because I'm lonely. And I decided the other day that I am sick and tired of electric bills. And I called 2 solar companies that are gonna, I got a meeting 4 o'clock Monday with one of them. And the other one, I gotta email him some information from our office, but I'm sick and tired of electric bills. And that's for the fire station, solar on the fire station and solar on this building. It's not costing us a nickel. I'm just meeting with the guy.
Ed, you got a question?
Are you planning on putting them on the roof?
One guy said your roof's in phenomenal shape for it. The other guy said, I'll look on Google Earth tonight and call you tomorrow.
Okay, my thing was my kids put it on their roof, which is fine and dandy. But their insurance went up so much, so there's nothing left.
Something to look at.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Ed. Next,
That's it.
okay. John?
My only comment, I'm a little confused because tonight we approved 2 groups to come in and have the fees waived at the senior center. And back a few months ago, I asked for the senior center fees to be waived for Anoka County to come in and do a fix-it program. I brought it back twice or three times, and everybody seemed to have a lot of heartache about it. So I'm trying to figure out, it's still a community event. I'm just making a statement that I'm a little frustrated that it's different, it seems to be. So, so that'll probably come back because right now I was planning on paying for the rental for that fix-it program, which I think is probably
No, I
wrong.
thought we approved to waive that, didn't we?
I thought it was approved to do it back there.
It was an approval to
it-
use the building.
Yeah,
It wasn't even approved. It was a consensus. It wasn't a motion or a vote. It was a consensus that everybody said, tell them that we'll support it, but we just don't know where, but we'll find a place here for them. And when I talked to, I think it's Jill, she was very agitated that we didn't just say, yes, it was okay to use a senior center.
When is it?
The first Saturday in, June from 8 to 2.
I think you have the wrong issue. I think the reason we didn't know where it was going to be is because that's a big time for senior rentals for graduations.
Yeah,
And
I checked with Sarah and she said that usually the parties are after graduation. And I think she looked back at last year and didn't see that
Okay.
that weekend was.
But I think that was the issue for
It
us.
was a consideration. Absolutely. You're right, Carol. It absolutely
I don't
was.
think
Well-
I don't think we were, I mean, I think it's a great program, so I couldn't see myself saying no to it, except for the fact that they're making money over there if they are renting it.
well, let's put it this way. You want to bring that back right now? Because I can take motions all the way up to the time that we adjourn this meeting and I'll entertain another motion. Want to put it out there?
It's not been our practice, but I will do that. I'll make a motion that we waive the fees to the senior center for the first Saturday in June from 8 to 2 for the Anoka County Fix It program.
As long as it's good with Sarah. As long as nothing's popped up.
Correct, correct.
There a second? I'll second it. I get more discussion. Discussion?
Is there any reason it can't be in a different room if necessary, or is this a
Yeah,
deal breaker?
it is kind of a deal breaker. I didn't think it would be. I talked, that's why I talked to Jill directly myself. Cause I was really pushing using the new reuse building, cause it was like, you know, that's kind of the centerpiece, bring people back, show them our program. I thought it was a great way that we could advertise that. She said that there's people that may come to this from any part of Anoka County. She says people that could come up from Fridley or any of the other places in Anoka County. They're lucky if they know where Linwood is, much less where the town hall is. So she was afraid that they would get here and then they would have to put directional signs to have people drive around the building and behind it. So I offered the fire department as a possibility and she really didn't like that either because they had great success in the senior center the year before.
That was June.
I think it's the second, it's the first Saturday in June.
Okay,
I
so
think
June
there was
1st.
The conflict then with the recycling center hours too, just traffic and everything.
And that was another
I'm
point,
sorry.
from 8 AM till 2 PM. And right now, as far as I know, I have it reserved, but I think it was kind of sad that I have to pay $200 to let Anoka
let's put-
County that's given us.
Well, the reuse center is not gonna be done in June. We already know that, so that can't be used, it's not gonna be done by June.
What else has to be done to it for you to say it's not gonna be done?
The inside isn't done yet. I'm talking about the new one. That's what you guys talking about, right?
Yeah, but I got whole maintenance side of it that's done.
Yeah.
I don't think it's fair to say it's not gonna be done. I think as a last resort, the senior center is a great idea. Last resort, because I think that reuse building's phenomenal. Even that maintenance side, we just hung the ply. I think that's a phenomenal spot for it, so.
Yeah, I was hoping to, but like I said, and I forgot, she brought up the point too of it being open, so there's gonna be, and sometimes there's people on a Saturday that are backed up 3-4 cars outside the gate. So if you got somebody coming in to try to get into the Fix It program and they're pulling in and backing out, it's another hazard.
I think we should do it at the senior center this year and come next year, once we look at this, we can take her in the back and let her see what the place looks like and
Mhm.
maybe we can sell her on it to do it next year.
Yeah.
So I'll hold the motion the way it sits, so. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
I'm doing things like that. Okay, where am I at here?
That's all I had.
Okay, Carol,
I just want to remind people that the Newsline deadline is on the 20th of February. So please get your articles in. And again, I hope you will come to the planning and zoning meeting so you can hear about the Anoka County Housing Study.
Okay,
What's the date for that? This upcoming one?
It's, yeah. the
February
next-
20th.
Okay.
Tuesday, 20th,
Yep.
7 o'clock.
And, okay. Then we don't have to make an announcement because if we're just sitting there observing, we don't have to worry about more than 2 supervisors, right?
I think she does was deposed.
Oh, it is, okay.
It's posted.
All right, sorry, thank you.
But the meeting is for both of supervisors and P and Z.
Okay. Treasurer, you got your papers in your hand.
I do. Got some not so good news from the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency that the statewide waste reduction and reuse application grant that we had submitted for finishing off the reuse building, we did not get accepted. They had 27 applications seeking approximately $3.7 million. So, they anticipate having an additional round next year that will have, waste reduction and more focusing on reuse. Then we just got the application for the 2024 Municipal Waste Prevention and Recycling Grant Program application through Anoka County. This is something that we do every year when it's available. They say grant funding is up to 25,000 per municipality. And it says note that the grant request exceeding $25,000 may be considered. And to contact Jill. I know Jill has been in contact with Paul stating, tell us what you need to finish that building. So I'm just asking for permission to move forward with this grant.
Make a motion to allow you to go forward with the grant. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion?
Is there a percent match to it, or is it just the request of that amount?
Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Anything else? Clerk?
I've got a request for, from Linda Madsen. She is the new director of the Lake Center for Youth and Families. And she would like to come to a town board meeting and talk about their organization.
I don't think there's any problem with that. I'd prefer it be on the second meeting of the month because that should be our light time, so. Anybody else have a problem coming in here? Sure, sounds good. Like I said, I'd prefer it be the second meeting because our first one's usually the heavy one. We'll go with the light one.
Okay.
Anything else?
Yes. And also from the Linwood Elementary School that they received a grant for a tree trust. And they have a program called Learning with Trees that's supported through grants and scholarships. And it provides many trees for them to plant around the playground area, classroom, landscape. It is on Wednesday, May 29th, and they would love to have any member of the fire department, senior center, or town board or town community sign up and volunteer time to help plant the trees. Again, that's May 29th from 8 to 4. And then they'll have a dedication service the next day. So I wanted to tell you about it, but I think it's something that maybe could go on the website because again, they're looking for anybody in the community to do it, to help plant. So
You want to send that to Natalie?
yeah, and if you are interested, once it's on the website, there's a volunteer form. There's a link to a volunteer form at the school. And then the last thing I have, did everybody get these beautiful invitations? I think it might have come to me, so I can tell you about it. This is the Hope Gala. It is to support, I can pass these around, the Alexandra House. So it's their big fundraiser. Obviously, this would not be you going as a town board supervisor, but if you would like to go, it is March 23rd, and they are asking for a response. It's $175 a person, or you can sponsor tables and other things. So I'll pass this around. If anybody is interested, you can go ahead and fill it out and we can get it sent in, or you can do it individually, but I will pass it around.
Good. Is that it?
That is it.
Anything else to come before the board?
Supervisor Olson, I have one question. Is the electric 100% done in the building?
No, only on the park side.
Okay,
Those two ponds.
cause I just seen a bill we approved was the final for our electric company, $6,000. Reuse warming house parks final, $6,000.
Yep.
That's what I'd ask.
Yeah, cause the total second half was like 13,000 something. So that was just the parks portion.
Okay. Thank you.
Tom?
Want to remind you that you've been invited to the P and Z meeting. That starts at 7.
Yep. Okay.
Oh. 7 o'clock. And just one note on that, it is not posted as a joint meeting, so you're attending a planning and zoning meeting, but you don't need to call the town board to order. You're just there to get information. It's not actually a joint meeting where you would both be called to order. Just a point. You don't need to do that.
Very good. Anything else come before the board? Hearing nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned at 8:14.
Did you turn that recorder off?
Bob?